how's it going? My name's Ed Harvey, this is the EBC project, and in this video I'm going to show you how the flywheel and clutch assembly attach to the Warp 9 motor shaft. Alright, so this here is the adapter plate, and this has been water jet cut and CNC milled out of aluminium, so that it's the right shape and has the right datum points to mount onto the existing 5-speed manual transmission. But there's some more pictures of that on my website if you want to have a look. But for this video I'm just going to be focused on the drive shaft. So the first part that we've got here is the spacer. Now you need this so that you can get your right critical distance for your clutch. I've been told that you need to get that about 0.25mm accurate, but yeah, generally try and get that as accurate as you can so that you've still got the same functionality in your clutch as you did beforehand. So that's the first part that goes on there. And this part here is called a shim. Now this is, it looks pretty rough, but all it needs to do really is just add a little bit of spacing until the taper lock gets tightened up. Now this has just been cut out of 0.3mm metal, and that's just really just there to get the distance absolutely right after we cut that spacer there. So that just goes on there and presses down. There won't really be any sort of force on that after it's all tightened up. It's just to get things in the right place as we do it up. And the next part here is the taper lock. Now what this does is it's got a little gap in it, and this is a 1 1/8 inch bore for the Warp 9 motor shaft, and that fits on like this. And if I can find the key, the part just goes in there as well so that it stops rotating. Might have to put that in first. Alright, now this hub here, this has been cut out on the lathe. Now this inside surface here has been cut at 2 degrees, which is the same angle on the taper lock here. Now how this works, I'll just take this out again, when these press together and they get tightened up, this little gap in here closes up so that the taper lock tightens up on the motor shaft. And so yeah, we'll just put that back down in there, and this hub fits on top of there. We'll just try and line those up with the screws there. Now you do have to be pretty careful putting these taper locks on, that you tighten these little cap screws up evenly so that you get the right angle. If you've got a good angle cut on the hub, it should line up reasonably well, but it's always good to just be careful with that. Now as you're tightening these up, it does just pay just to give the hub a bit of a tap down as you go, and just to make sure that it hasn't lifted up, just to make sure you're still getting that clutch distance right. And yeah, just make sure that as you're tightening them up, you're really just doing them an even amount each time, and just go around in a sort of circular pattern. It can help just to chuck a few bolts in the existing flywheel holes here so that to stop the hub turning as you're tightening it. Now just before I put the flywheel on, I'll just show you this bit here. Now this end of the shaft has actually had to be bored out of it. The first time I put it in, I found that the spline shaft coming out of the transmission was actually just contacting with this, which meant the clutch wasn't working at all. So the other end of these motors, which is usually the drive end, is already bored out like this, probably for that purpose. But because this is a Honda, it actually the motor needs to rotate in the opposite direction as usual. So for that I've actually just used the opposite end of the motor to drive it. Now after you've put your hub on, this is a good time to measure and see that you've got your critical distance right. And, how I do this is just put a flat ruler across the top of there, and you can either use some verniers and use the depth gauge, or you can just put some feeler gauges underneath the ruler. I think mine might be a little off at the moment by maybe about 0.5mm, but we'll see how it goes. Sort of just got to get the thing in right now and see if it's working, and if I do have problems with the clutch I might have to take it out again. Right, so now to put the flywheel on. Now this has had the starter motor teeth removed, just to cut down on the rotational inertia a bit. Now as you can see here, this interface actually locates onto the hub. Now I'm not sure if this is just with Hondas or other vehicles as well, but this outer surface of the hub here has had to be machined pretty accurately so that it locates nicely in there. So I'm just going to put that down on there. sure that's sitting nicely. And now we can thread lock the flywheel bolts as well and put those on. Alright, so now that we've got the flywheel on, it's a good idea just to check that everything's true using a DTI. So try and find a place on the flywheel that hasn't been worn down on the clutch, and just put that there, and you can just rotate the flywheel slowly and watch the needle as it goes around. It's catching a bit on there. Put it over there. So at the moment it's about 0.18 mil off. Now what you can do is when you find the high part, which is about there, just take the DTI off for a second and give it a tap with a hammer. If you do that a few times, you can often find that you can make it a bit better. Now it seems to be down to about 0.13, which is a bit better. Okay, now we're ready to put the clutch plate on. It's this part here. So that just fits onto the flywheel there. And make sure if you are using this method, you just make sure those heads of those bolts there aren't catching on the inside of the clutch here. It's got a bit of clearance at the moment, so it's alright. Line that up there. Okay, and now we can put the pressure plate on top. Now again, as you're doing these up, just do make sure you do them in a bit of a pattern. You'll notice these pressure springs here start to drop down as you tighten it up, so just make sure those are all going down evenly. Alright, it's all put together. So just out of interest, you can hook it up to a 12 volt battery if you want. And you don't really want to go anything much higher than 12 volt because you can rev the motor too fast, but 12 volt's pretty safe, 12 or 24 volt, and you can just have a look and see that everything's running pretty true. Everything seems to be spinning pretty true there, so next step is to put it in the car, and I'll add some more videos up soon to see how that goes. Cheers.